Welcome to GB Camper Conversion's latest video tour of the new shape Citroen Berlingo with a layout we've not done before, and it's quite interesting and it looks a bit funky. If you want to drop the thumbs up on the like button for me, you can subscribe to the channel, or you can click the little notification bell and that'll tell you when we put videos up for the future. I can't wait to show you this. We're going to look inside. Let's do it. So as you can see, like I said, the layout's different to what we normally do. This was on request from the customer. They've asked for a rock and roll bed system, which as you can see is over here. They've arranged to have this sent to me from their own supplier. So they contacted a supplier of this particular seat. They got it finished in the colours that they wanted, which is the black vinyl with the diamond stitching and the yellow piping. And at the same time, the company arranged for the two front cab seats, which you can see now, to be picked up from our unit, taken away, recovered to match the back seat, and then they were sent back to us mid conversion, and then we refitted them for them as well. So that's how it all started. We do have our own upholsterers that will do the cab seats for us in any finish that you like, and then we do have our own supplier of rock and roll beds that we can get also finished matching your cab seats. So we don't have to use the people that they use, it's just they did, and it worked out absolutely fine. Then they went on to the design of the furniture. Obviously, like most traditional conversions that opt for the rock and roll bed, it is just normally furniture down one side. So this is how it's ended up. These are the colours that they've chosen, and it looks a bit funky, doesn't it? What do you reckon? I mean, the black and yellow, everything matching. Obviously, you know, from our point of view as well, we can change, as long as the furniture board is available and the edging's available, we can change this style to suit your own particular tastes. So we'll just touch on a bit of equipment that they've had in here as well. So here we are, we're on the rock and roll seat. Headroom's not too bad. I mean, I'm 6'1". I do believe, well, I do know that the supplier I use can alter the height of the seat, so it can be lowered. It's not just going to be like this. The customers who own this particular van are a bit shorter than I am, so they'll be absolutely fine in this van. So like I said, we'll touch on what they've actually had. So we'll start at the front here. This is just the sink cover that we normally make, and as you can see, we've got the tap there. So underneath there is the stainless steel sink with a silver tap to match. On the other side of this cupboard, as you notice from the front, there is no door entry point. That's so that we can allow the rock and roll seat to pass nicely past everything without interference from doors. So we've put the door on the other side, and it is only to refill your fresh water tank or water bottle and empty your waste container. But yeah, that's on a micro switch, so it is electronically controlled. So it's just a standard submersible pump, and we'll show you where the water's taken from and where it's collected in the waste container when we go outside. So that's the sink. And then moving on to the front, we've got the table rail, and we've managed to clip the table on the back of this. Now, what we have said is, if you've got long legs like I have and you want to adjust this driving position, then that table really needs to be moved from there whilst you're traveling, which isn't a problem. So I've just put it there so it's out the way while I'm just explaining things. It's on the normal pivoting leg that we always fit on these tables. Press the button, swing the leg around, drop it on the rail. So you can adjust the height on that leg as well, but then you can clip it on. Now with it being clipped on, I would say that's okay there to be used while you're traveling around. It's clipped on, it's not going to go anywhere. There's a bit of weight behind it, so it's absolutely fine there. But that's the other thing. So you've got a little dining table, you can slide it up and down that rail. You can now pull that driver's seat as far back as it'll actually go anyway, so the end of this worktop doesn't interfere with how far you pull that driver's seat back. Again, we do it like that purely for resale value, because you might sell the vehicle later on in life and it might be to somebody that's a little bit taller, wants a bit more leg room, so we just end it there rather than you being scrunched up against the steering wheel. Coming along then, we've got the switches for the lights in the ceiling. So we've got 2 LED lights in the ceiling, and we've got a twin USB socket there, 1 amp and a 2.1, and then next to that we've got the 12-volt cigarette lighter socket with a TV aerial outlet, and I'll show you where the inlet is later. This can be used, I've seen it before on sites where they have their own. You've got your main socket that you plug your lead into, and then sometimes I've seen them where there's actually an aerial socket that you can trail an aerial cable to a fixing point on your van, and then you can have an aerial connection inside, so you can watch a bit of TV. How good's that? So that's something else we don't normally do, but it's just an extra they had. Coming again with the electrical components, this was something they requested, and that was the pull-up tower. So 3 240-volt sockets, 2 USB sockets, so they have got mains in here as well, so this can be used off-site because it has a leisure battery in there. With it being the new style Berlingo with the smart alternator, it's got the DC to DC charger, so that will charge the battery whilst they're driving. Like I say, it's got mains, so we always, as standard, RCD protected mains consumer unit with a separate breaker, and we always put in a transformer charger that will charge your leisure battery whilst you're on site, electrics, and it'll supply the 12-volt around the van as well, such as the lights, USB sockets, and the 12-volt cigarette lighter socket, oh, and the tap. So you get the best of both, whichever way we do it, 12-volt or mains electric. That just sits nicely down, so you've still got all this worktop to use. They have got a little mini electric cooker which can be used on site electrics, or a portable gas stove, which when you're not on hookup, you've got everything that you need, as in the sink and the electrics to go. It's just the cooking facilities, but you can use that portable gas stove. I was going to call it a stob, and that's a hob and a stove combined, but I didn't. Anyway, moving back, like I say, loads of worktop. Then you've got the dining table as well, so we've got loads of work surface to work on. And then just coming to the back, one of our window storage boxes, again finished in the same trim as everything else, and that just, you know, it's a fairly deep compartment, but storage is key, I think, in any small vehicle, so having that little bit of extra storage is a bonus. We have got storage under the seat as well. It's an open frame, because of the nature of how the actual seat works, as in getting the bed forwards. We didn't think there was enough. Well, we could have put a front on, but it would have been that shallow, it was almost pointless doing it, so we didn't. Okay, so we'll go around the other side, show you the other side of this cupboard, and then we'll just touch on a few other items. So this is the driver's side of the vehicle. Most people like to keep this side, or sorry, they'd like to keep the other side free, because that's curbside of the vehicle, so it's a bit safer to get in and out of the vehicle. So we can, like most conversions that have rock and roll bed and they have the furniture down one side, it normally comes down the driver's side. And this is what we've got on our driver's side. Like I mentioned earlier, we didn't put a cupboard door on the inside to allow that bed to move freely straight down with no interruptions. So we've dropped it out here. And like I said, it's got the water containers in. So we've got the waste one at the back, we've got the fresh one at the front, and then we've still got a bit of storage round the back of them bottles. I would probably put something in there. If you've got water in, I would probably put something in there to stop it slopping about while you're travelling, or you can just travel with them empty. The choice is yours. But like I say, the reason we put the door out here was for the bed, and you're only really going to need to come out here and empty the water or refill it if you're going to use lots of water, so you don't have to be in there every 5 minutes. So we just thought it was a good idea to put it on the outside rather than the inside. Okay, we'll have a look at the back and then we'll show you the other extra that they've had. So as you can see, this is the back of the vehicle, and like any conversion that's got the rock and roll bed, this now stops any entrance from for you to get in and out the back because the seat is there. We've come back as far as we can. I'm going to show you how the bed operates in a moment, but something else that we do, and this is on every conversion, is we pop the push button on the back door. Why is that, I hear you say? What's the point when you can't get in and out? Well, you can actually get in and out, but only when the bed's down. So again, it was just a request from the customer, when the bed's down, if you wanted to, because that is higher than where the level of the bed is anyway, you can just press the button, push the back door, allow it to go up. You're lying in bed, the world's out there, the sun is shining, you can hear the cows mooing, you can hear the sheep barring, you're on a campsite. Absolutely glorious. So that was the point of that, and it's just another escape point if you really need to get out. So that was on request from the customer. And then the last thing before we show you the bed, then the last thing on the extras, and this is becoming quite a common thing now that we're putting on our Berlingos or any small conversion, and that's the partition curtains. So you get that privacy, and I've mentioned it before, these are the partition curtains made for a T5 T6 to separate the cab from the habitation area, and they fit an absolute treat. They're the right length, the rail's absolutely fine, just takes a little bit of tweaking, but they're great. Got all the press studs, you get that little bit of privacy, and those were requested for the back and up the front as well, so it splits the cab from the conversion area. And these work in exactly the same way. To get the bed to come down, we have to move both the seats fully forwards. The bed itself is 1750 millimeters long in length, and it's 820 millimeters wide, so it's a nice size width, and it's a good size length as well. Bearing in mind that most rock and roll beds that you'll get in the bigger vans are normally only 1800 anyway, so 50 mil. So I'll move the seats forwards and we'll get that bed down. So like I mentioned earlier, this seat was sent to us through the customer. They'd contacted a company, they made them the rock and roll bed, they then had it sent to us. So this is their choice of rock and roll seat, and the operation's pretty simple. There's a lever down on the bottom which you pull up, that releases the mechanism. Now, unlike any other seat that I've seen before, they're normally on runners, so the runners will come apart and the bed will slide forwards, and you have the 2 feet which sort of barely touch the floor, but as you pull it out, as it's extended fully, there's a little bit of give, and it'll go down and those feet will touch the floor and it'll take the brunt of the weight. This, however, is on wheels. So right down the bottom there's two wheels, one at the front, well, two at the front and two at the back, one either side, and it just, once you release that mechanism, it rolls across your floor. Now this was the point again of, we had to have the floor extended to where it was, because if we didn't have that extended to where we have it, obviously when the wheels go past the edge of the floor, the whole bed tips forward, and that's not a very nice sleeping position. So the floor had to be extended to take the full length of the wheels, and that, like I say, it just rolls forward, it gets so far. Just watch them belts. I'm going to grab hold of it, and that touches down. Now this cushion here is on a bit of a slider, so you can fill that gap in by just pushing it back. That then fills that gap. We're going to move the belts, and then we've got a 1700 long, decent size single bed. You got your access through the side loading door, so you know you've got all this room. Watch me dirty feet. Nice decent size single bed, still got access to your electrics, still got access to your cupboard. Pop the curtains across, same with the back. The only covers that you'll need for the windows are going to be the two side loading door windows, and then this rear one as well. We couldn't get another window box over this side because of where the seat frame ended up here. It was quite a bit into this aperture of the window, so of course our window boxes sort of start level with this profile, and we just couldn't get it in there. And then the other problem was, once the seat was here, you couldn't open the door. You could open the door while the bed's down, but we just simply couldn't get the window box up there. It was that close to the window, there was no point doing it. And then the other thing was, if people are going to travel on this seat, if you're sitting here, at least you can watch the world go by whilst you're travelling, rather than looking at a cupboard. So yeah, here we are, we're on the bed. Like I said, you wake up in the morning feeling fresh from a cracking night's sleep. You crack open that curtain, the sun's blazing, and it ain't today, but it would be if you were camping, because it always does, doesn't it? Unless you go where I go, it's normally raining. And then, like I say, you've got the button there. It's a case of you just press it, push the button, and let that fresh air in, let that lovely sunshine in, let that breeze come through. Oh, I can imagine now camping, but in my imagination it's raining, maybe there's a bit of thunder, and I'm getting absolutely soaked right now. No, in all seriousness, yeah, this conversion, I'm really impressed with the way it's turned out. It's the first one we've done with a rock and roll seat. It is like it is, you know, any traditional conversion that's got a rock and roll seat does leave you with the only option of having furniture down one side. You know, we've used it to the best of what we could. You get a lovely decent sized work surface, you've got your sink, you've got all your electrics, you've got a nice bed, you've got a bit of storage underneath here. Storage, I mean, what more do you want? Anyway, look, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. We are GB Camper Conversions, based in Tamworth in Staffordshire. Any questions, you can go on the website, there's a contact form, there's a contact number, drop us a message, we'll try our best to reply to you. But look, have a great time camping, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.